Hi guys, Ryu here, and let's get on with our mech. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna create some torso, some kind of a cool, funky shape in here. So let's grab a cube and bring it in here, and let's actually scale it like this, and on Z, and maybe like that, and bring it somewhere here. And let's have some fun. Shall we? Just actually a bit too tall, so yeah, something like this will do. So now, I want this neck to be long, but not too long, because long neck usually means weakness, okay? The neck needs to be thick, right? That's what we want, thick neck, and more or less of the size of a chest. So, the thicker the neck, the tougher it's gonna look, right? So, that's what we want. Now, we want to bring this one actually a bit taller, a bit higher, somewhere maybe here, and kind of slice it. So scale, and let's chamfer this, or bevel this, and if it's overlapping, just press C. This will perfectly snatch to the it will perfectly snatch to this angle. But this is a bit too round, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do it differently. Okay, we're gonna use mesh machine. So let's create a chamfer, and then we're going to go to Y menu, which is mesh machine, and we're going to change the width a bit, right? Okay, and we're going to fuse it. So fuse this, right? Don't worry about the other side. It's actually gonna just grab this one, okay? And we're gonna fuse it, right? And we're gonna use W key to change the tension to make it a little bit more corner-like, you see. So here, let me show you from the top. So W, right? One more time, refuse it, and press W to make it a bit more, you see, corner-like. Okay. Then we're gonna copy this to the other side. I'm peachy. Gonna apply some bevel to see things better. And we're gonna do the same thing here, but here we're gonna actually make it wider. Okay, so we're gonna make it much wider. All right, and make sure this bevel is, more or less could be actually even more dense. So we could go to mesh machine and refuse it and add some segments, and we should be fine. Okay, because I want this bevel to be dense, and this is the front of the mech. I want it to be, nice and smooth. So now we could cut here from the neck. Okay, maybe like this. All right, and now I can see that the neck is a little bit too, too shallow. So let's bring it up. Let's choke this a little bit so the neck is really like, kind of tough. Yeah, that's what we want to see. Okay, so bring it like that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna chisel it in, and then we're gonna create something different on top. So let's chisel it in here like this, and go down here and bevel this and cut it. And mirror goes from this side, right? So one more time. Okay, there we go. Something like this, and then you could actually cut it again like this. Okay, so grab this one and cut it here like this and bevel it. Okay, all right, and slice it in this fashion. We could slice this one here as well on the corners and create a kind of like chamfers, The machined look is important, and let's go to Align Tool. Align Tool in Hardops is accessed by going to Operations, and where was it? I have a shortcut for it, so maybe it was Mesh Tools here, Align Tool. Okay, Align View. I have a shortcut for it, Control Q, which basically causes Blender to shut down, which by the way shortcuts are removed. So if you want to remove the shortcut in Blender, you go to Preferences, Key Map, and then you press Quit. And you see I don't have this because I removed it, but there's a Quit Blender here. I just simply press on X and saved Preferences, and I went to my Mesh Tools, and here right click, and you can assign or change shortcut. So my shortcut for it is Control Q, and now I can easily align stuff, you know, in Hardop. So now before we do anything, let's actually think about it. Okay, so let's grab this one and lower it down a bit. Okay, can we do that? This is all because of the mirror, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, fine. Let's grab this mirror here, and in fact, let's go through mod toggle scroll. So let's here modify scroll, and let's go to mirror, which is here, and let's bring it all the way to the top and see what happens. All the way to the bottom. Yeah, let's go grab it all the way to the top, and let's actually apply the mirror. And then we apply weighted normals. So click on this shape, on this one, and Alt on sharpen, and we're gonna add a bevel. We do have a bevel here. We need to turn it on. There we go. It was off, and now we can have some fun. So now we can fix these shapes. So let's fix this shape first, and then let's recall this shape. That's the one. And let's have some fun here. So let's see what we can do. Let's go to top view, and let's grab these two shapes and bring them to local mode. And let's see, this kind of shape would be interesting, especially if we can introduce another cut in here like this. So you can play with cutters in a really cool fashion, and it's pretty cool. Especially when you start cutting the cutters, things become really interesting. So let's make it bigger, and let's drop it somewhere here. Fascinating. Maybe something like this. Okay, how do we look now? Turn off the backup because we don't need it. It's gonna be confusing. Yeah, I'm not sure I like this. I'm not really sure I like this. I don't, in fact. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna delete it, and I'm gonna do something like this here. In fact, you know what? I have an idea. I'm gonna extend this neck cut here with a bevel. So something like this. There we go. Now you're talking. Now I don't like this connection in here at all. This one, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna recall this corner cutter, and let's try to do something else with it. For example, something like this. Okay, this is much more aggressive, right? And let's bring it here and maybe rotate it, something like this. That looks pretty cool to me, right? So that's much more interesting in my opinion, to be honest. Let's grab this cutter. It's too narrow, so it needs to be wider, and we definitely need to widen up this one as well. Right, and now we probably can cut the shape in half here, so like this. There we go. Okay, this will be our front of our chest piece, and we're going to add some stuff to it, so it should be interesting. Now what we could do, right, we could actually turn these on the side to shift pull to not the cuts but actually slashes, and we could recreate a mesh from this one, right? So copy to the other side, and it's not symmetrical, which is fascinating. Now it is. Grab these two, right, to local, and we could actually connect them in here. So sharpen to make, create a mesh out of them. Remove this face, okay, because we don't need it. And then we can actually connect them. So select this loop and EX and merge it, right? And now we can apply the mirror and remove this middle edge from here. And we got a mesh here, you see, magically appearing before our eyes. Now we're probably gonna have to slash it somehow because this is a little bit out of order, but let's see what we can do with it. I don't know if I'm gonna stay with this shape. I have no idea. I don't know yet. I don't know anything yet, but it could be interesting, okay? So, right. Let me see this. Go like this here and bevel. There we go. How are we looking? It's looking pretty interesting, actually. Looking pretty interesting, especially if you're gonna play, start playing with shapes like this here, right? This could start getting really interesting. So I kind of like it. There's some hotline in here. Wonder what's going on. So simply what we need to do is, this is just too deep, okay? It's just too deep. So what we could do is cut it, like that, right? Or slice it here. There you go. This is an interesting shape. Rather tough to cut out. Let's save it, because, that was a lot of work and a lot of doodling. And it's all about doodling, guys. It's about doodling the cool shape, right? And also, when you design something, it's really important to look from every single angle. Now, this one is really buggered here. Is this already baked shaped? No, it isn't. Let's see this mod scroll at the back. Yeah, this one. This bevel here, I think it's a little bit too crazy. So let's relax it a little bit. There we go. Reduce a few segments because maybe it's just too insane. And see how we're looking. I think it's still we're not there yet. Cut this, right? Really no. What? There we go. Yeah, it's still giving us a bit of headache here. So before we do anything, right, with this shape, what I would really highly recommend you to do is this, okay? You really need some loops. You see how it fixes the shading? Because the shading on these things will break, right? Same here, In fact, here I have a better solution for this one, okay? In here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna run dice. So we're gonna go to Mesh Tools, Dice, and switch it to vertical z-axis and simply slice it with dice. You see, so now dice will run perfect edges across this mesh, and we can fix it later. Don't have to worry about it now, but it just looks a bit more clean and contains most of the problems that we would be having otherwise, right? Alright, backup needs to go because reasons, and we're doing pretty good. Okay, now, so this is a little bit too wide in my opinion, this is a bit too wide. Maybe we could shallow it down a bit, kind of like this, maybe. So it's not that insane on the top here. And now what we need is a cylinder with about, one more time, mesh cylinder, and change it to 100 verts. And if you move this cylinder, you're not gonna be able to redo this step anymore. So make sure you do it after you create it. RY90, and let's make it bigger, and let's bevel this, and let's scale it on x-axis and bring it down. go to local mode, and let's see how we look in this side. Okay, so now what we want here is to create some kind of side mechanism that's gonna be, you know, quite large but not too crazy large, kind of like this, maybe maybe a bit larger, maybe a bit lower too, kind of like here. So the beginning of the legs, if you know what I mean. And let's apply scale. Okay, and let's actually extrude it a bit more and apply scale again. And what I'm gonna do is run a box here like this, but press X 3 times to access inset mode, and press T to access solidify. And I'm gonna create an inset and copy it to the other side. And let's recall this inset for a second and maybe move it a little bit. Come on, move it a little bit here. Okay, fair enough. Let's smart apply this and then move it. There you go. Now we could do all kinds of interesting things with it, but before we do, naturally we're gonna do this, right? Because reasons, we might need it, and later on it's gonna be a bit more difficult to handle. Now it's diced, doesn't really matter. This one is a bit close, but I think we should be fine, because what I want to do is this. I want to grab, you know, this and introduce a chamfer, hide that, and we should be good. Now how are we looking? See, now we're looking pretty good. We're looking pretty good. There's a good balance. The leg's gonna come really high. The gun's gonna be somewhere here. It's gonna look really, really menacing. I want the legs to be really high, because when you mount the legs high, the whole body's gonna look really like tough, you know. Because when you have long legs and a long body, it just makes it a bit more tender and slim and feminine. The body needs to be, you know, like a dwarf, you know what I mean, like a piece of meat made of metal, walking and trying to kill things. Mean killing machine, that's what we're making. So anyway, that should work. So I think this should be it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching, and in next one we're gonna start creating some details around this head and move further. So catch you in the next video.